evening. My name is Tyree. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening on behalf of Virtuity Financial Partners. I believe it's true what has been said, that when a new idea comes into an existing industry, it completely revolutionizes us. We've seen this with countless companies such as Uber, Amazon, Airbnb in their respective industries. And here at Virtuity Financial Partners, we are revolutioning the financial industry by distributing products and services to the vast majority who have been overlooked for way too long. So we are really excited tonight to welcome you all to our financial literacy event this evening with Mr. David Meltzer and Ms. Sharon Lechter, who are two experts in the financial sector and friends of Virtuity Financial Partners and committed to educating people about how money works and how to make it work for you. So, just to give you guys a little bit of statistics on Financial Literacy Month, which is what we're in right now. The month of April was designated, I believe it was in 2004, as Financial Literacy Month in the United States. And there are so many families that are financially illiterate, over 5 billion people across the planet who are financially illiterate. It is the #1 economic crisis facing our country today. And these two folks are here committed to helping support and educate people about their finances, getting them educated about it. So I am really honored and blessed to be in the company of these two individuals. Allow me to take a moment to introduce each of them. First is Mr. David Meltzer, who, if you guys have been on any of our events before, you are no stranger to him. Dave is the co-founder of Sports One Marketing and formerly served as the CEO of the renowned Lee Steinberg sports and entertainment industry, which was the inspiration for the movie Jerry Maguire. His life's mission is to empower over 1 billion people to be happy, which is no small feat, but if there's any man that can do it, I know that it's him. This simple yet powerful mission has led him on an incredible journey to provide one thing, and that's value. And all of his content and communications, that's exactly what you'll receive. He's a 3-time international best-selling author, a top 100 business coach, the executive producer of Entrepreneur's #1 digital business show, The Elevator Pitch, and host of the top entrepreneurial podcast, The Playbook. His newest book, Game Time Decision Making, was the #1 new release, and Dave has been recognized by Variety Magazine as Sports Humanitarian of the Year and awarded the Ellis Island Medal of Honor. So Dave, it is an honor to welcome you here to join us. I never get to do your full bio. I'm always kind of ad-libbing, and I take it for granted, but I'm always so impressed at all of the accomplishments that you have, and just honored that you decided to be a part of this evening. And I also get the distinct honor of welcoming Sharon Lechter. She is just a phenomenal woman. I'm a little bit starstruck actually getting to have her on, but she is an entrepreneur, international speaker, best-selling author, mentor, philanthropist, licensed CPA for 35 years, and a chartered global management accountant. Sharon Lechter is the premier expert for financial literacy and entrepreneurial success. In 1997, Sharon co-authored the international bestseller Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which you guys have not read, get a copy immediately following this, and has released 14 other books in the Rich Dad series. Over 10 years as the co-founder and CEO, she built the empire into the world's leading personal finance brand. In 2008, she was asked by the Napoleon Hill Foundation to help re-energize the powerful teachings of Napoleon Hill as the international economy was faltering. Sharon has released 3 best-selling books in cooperation with the foundation, including Think and Grow Rich, 3 Feet from Gold, Outwitting the Devil, another book to add to your list, and her latest project, Think and Grow Rich for Women, which was released in June of 2014. She's also featured in the 2017 movie Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy, and has released a book, Save Wisely, Spend Happily, in cooperation with the American Institute of CPAs. She has a brand new book out, Exit Rich, and she is soon to be the co-author of How Money Works for Women, which is the book that we support and promote as a part of our Wealth Wave. This is part of our curriculum. So We are honored and excited to have both of you guys joining us this evening. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Delighted to be here. Hello, my dear friend David.
Hello, I'm delighted to be here as well. And just what a blessing it is. I just always say if I'm the smartest one in the room, I'm in the wrong room, and I'm just honored to be in this room, and I'm definitely in the right room.
Well, great. Thank you guys again for joining us. And so, Dave, I think I want to start with you a little bit because I know that you both have distinct financial journeys that you guys have been on. So, Dave, if you will, kind of share with people a little bit about your financial legacy, because I know that it hasn't always been smooth sailing for you. So maybe if you want to talk a little bit about your own financial experience, what led you here, and why you're so passionate about teaching other people about how money works and how to make it work for them.
Well, I have to tell you, it's one of the most important things in my life because my definition of empowering others to be happy starts with making a lot of money for the right reasons and the right purpose to help a lot of people, and of course have a lot of fun and be happy. And so when I'm on this mission, it incorporates money, which I believe is an object of energy, a currency, an object of energy that we actually put into the flow to get what we want. And my journey is about learning about financial literacy because I was very mistaken. I just have to stop for 1 minute and say happy birthday, Tyree. I know it was a couple of days ago, and I look forward to celebrating with you, and I celebrate anytime I can be with my mentor and friend, Sharon Lechter. And I have a problem about being with Sharon is I know this is about financial literacy, but somehow when she's around, I just get so emotional. So I apologize if I cry during this, but I just adore both of you and would do anything to be here and to help others. So anyway, my journey about money, I grew up poor. And I always laugh when I'm on stages. I'll say, who here grew up poor? And half the people raise their hand, and I'll say, I feel sorry for the rest of you because poor is a lesson that just keeps giving back. And I really believe that there's certain things I can't teach my children and hopefully never will be able to teach them about being poor. But I thought that I knew finance. I got extremely good grades. I wanted to be a millionaire and achieve that 9 months out of law school. I bought my mom a house, which was my dream to buy her a house and a car right out of law school. And I turned that into multi-millions of dollars. I had my first exit in 1995, $3.4 billion, sold our company to Thomson Reuters. And in 1999, I was a multi-millionaire, married to my dream girl, living in San Diego. And I thought I not only was financially literate, but I thought I was Midas. And so did other people, by the way. They all said everything Dave Meltzer touches turns to gold. And I bought right into not only that I was Midas and I knew everything I needed to know about money, but I also believe that money bought me love and happiness. And everything in my life seemed to confirm that. And as I moved more and more and gained greater wealth, and not just wealth, I gained access. I ran the most notable sports agency in the world. So being a multi-millionaire and having access to things that even billionaires didn't have access to, sidelines at the Super Bowl, the cabins at the Masters, and friends like Marshall Falk and Warren Moon and Steve Young and Troy Aikman and Evander Holyfield. These are things that I bought into my own BS. In fact, I ended up losing it all in 2008. And that's when I realized what financial literacy was. Financial literacy has nothing to do with the amount of money that you have or make. We prove that from many athletes, 75% of them that will go bankrupt 2.5 years after they're done playing. We see that with lottery ticket winners all the time, that, just because you can make or you get a lot of money doesn't mean you understand money. And this was the lesson that led me to be a part of your team, to be a part of Virtuity Financial, because I realized that there was a lot to learn about money. Money itself, and I think Einstein's probably my best teacher about money beyond the books that Sharon Lechter has written, because money is like a behavior. It's an energy that grows on itself. And if you don't understand how money accumulates, how money itself limits us, or how it challenges us about the limitations that we have. There's an energetic and a genetic inheritance that surrounds itself in money. And so many people can't break through. They get stuck no matter what they do, say, think, feel, or believe. They will consistently end up in the same position. And I had to break through. I had to break my genetic and energetic inheritance. And the only way to do so was to become literate, to study, to become a student of money. And the way that I did that was I found people who sat in the situation that I wanted to be in. I found Napoleon Hill. I found Sharon Lechter. I found other people who taught me about how money accumulates, grows, and how not only I was born with a gift to make money, but how I could be literate with that money and to provide purpose and reason and impact behind the money that I had. And all of these great lessons, they were actually products that were aligned with, legendary family offices or family wealth. And, I always went back to the Vanderbilt compared to the Rockefeller story. Vanderbilt was the richest man on earth, and he divided all his assets and ended up, the only reason you even know the Vanderbilt name is because 2 million of his $105 million went to Central University, which later became Vanderbilt University. All the rest of the money, when they had the reunion 100 years after Vanderbilt had passed, not one millionaire in their family. Although they had all that money, nobody was financially illiterate. And so the reason I spend all these times, these nights, these days, these weekends with you, Tyree, and listening and learning from Sharon, the last book that she wrote is a genius book, Exit Rich. It teaches us the genetic and energetic understanding of money and how money itself allows you to shop. And if you shop for the right things for the right reasons, with the right impact, you can do a lot of good and be happy with money. And if you shop for things for the wrong reason, money will leave you very fast. When we're buying things you don't need to impress people you don't like, there's a big problem, no matter how much you have of it. And so I'm a firm believer in literacy. I'm studying money at all times. It's something that I study, not just the strategies and the tax benefits and all the other techniques and strategies. Those are easy because people can tell you those, but actually studying the idea of money and the energy of money to help other people break that curse or that stigma as well. So I appreciate this opportunity, and I am just so excited to hand this off to the wizard. Now, like I said, I knew how to make money, but after 2008, I learned to be financially literate. And by giving back and by living in the world of more than enough, by having faith, I actually 16 years later have more money than I've ever had. And I'm happier than I've ever been, thanks to people like you, Tyree, and especially my friend Sharon Lechter.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for sharing that. I love that because your story's so relatable. Everybody looks at you, and sometimes I think that when people think that you've had money or had opportunities, they don't always understand the struggle and the journey behind all of it. So I love your vulnerability in the way that you are constantly giving your story away to everybody so that they can see that it's possible for them to do it too. Now, Sharon, we are, as a team, first of all, we couldn't be bigger promoters of your book because we've all read Outwitting the Devil, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I literally was on a call with somebody right before this. I was like, did you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? He's like, I did. I'm paying myself first now, Tyree. I was like, great, it's working. So, we want to hear about your financial journey because, obviously I read some of the statistics about you being a CPA and learning about money, but, the financial intelligence piece is somewhat personal for people. You have to find a passion for it. And so if you could share with all of us a little bit about your financial story and why financial literacy has become something that's so important to you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I really appreciate everybody being here with us this evening, and always fantastic to have a little time with my buddy, David. I'm so happy to be with you, David. I miss you. We haven't seen each other in a couple months. So I think when it comes to money, and David said is energy. Well, it's also emotion. David, money is emotion, and we are trained from a young age with negativity around money. We can't afford it. Wait for a rainy day. Money doesn't grow on trees, and that And then school teaches us to be an employee, to exchange time for money. And all of those things give this scarcity mindset that we have to break through. I had the incredible fortune of literally, as David said, I grew up in a very poor home, very lower middle class, but a very entrepreneurial home. So we lived in a little tiny house between my mom's beauty shop, my dad's used car lot. And at the age of 10, I was scrubbing out rental properties between tenants. So I was a real estate investor since the age of 10. And I was embarrassed about it because my friends' parents were CEOs or officers in the military. And I was embarrassed with where I came from. And I became the first generation to go to college. And I get to college and I become one of the very first women in public accounting. And it was an incredible education because I got to see so many companies do it right, but more importantly, all these companies that did it wrong and the mistakes they made. And so it gave me such a depth of knowledge, but it also made me appreciate what I learned because I realized people don't understand the value of buying, building, and creating assets. My favorite word on earth, assets. Okay, if you've heard me speak lately, I talk about assets are sexy. The older you become, the sexier they become. That's why what you do is very important. You help people build that foundation of success. And so at the ripe old age of 25, I had the opportunity to leave public accounting with a client. And I remember my mantra is, why not? Why not do something different? I'm not a good employee. I'm a terrible employee. I wanted to have control of my own life. And so I started my entrepreneurial career at 25 and I've never looked back. Was able to start and build and expand around the globe the first talking children's book when having this new technologies, when kids didn't have anything that was electronic. So how can we get parents to trust us? So we did little deals with little companies like Disney, Warner Brothers, Sesame Street. I learned so much about it, but we also got kids back into reading and the joy of reading. And that was such a huge gift to me and to my children. And then we sold that company. We moved to Arizona 31 years ago. And our oldest son went off to college at ASU in September, came home in December in credit card debt. We didn't even know he had a credit card. And I was so upset with him, but more upset with myself because I thought I taught him about money. I taught him the things my parents taught me. And so that was December of 1992. And that's when I dedicated the rest of my career to financial literacy. Literally, I'm as passionate about it today as I was in December of 1992. And David and I both have such shared passion about helping young people around the world working together in junior achievement on a global basis. It is so important for us to give kids, we talk about the haves and have-nots, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Well, that's because they learn about money at school, not at home. And if we truly want to level the playing field so that every child has equal opportunity, we will bring financial education to the school system. The problem is it takes forever. Hence my red hair turned white, trying to work with school systems. And so that started my journey of trying to get people to understand the importance of buying, building, creating assets. Instead of spending your time for money, exchanging time for money, let's invest your time into buying, building, and creating assets that generate the income. That's financial freedom. You're financially free when the income from your assets exceeds your monthly expenses. It does not have to be millions of dollars. When I met Robert Kiyosaki in 1996, he lived in a 2-bedroom condo and had 2 small apartment complexes. He was making $100,000 a year in passive income, but his expenses were $36,000. So he was financially free with $100,000 of income. That's the message I wanted to get around the world. And so we just literally 2 weeks ago celebrated our 25th anniversary, April 8th, of the release of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Really hard to believe that it was that long ago, but it's such an important issue that I want people to understand that you are the CEO of your own life. And it's not what you do for your paycheck that matters. It's what you do with your paycheck. There's nothing wrong with being an employee, but are you taking that income and reinvesting, building, buying, and creating income producing assets? And as you can see, the passion that comes out when I talk about this, I want to elevate you, not everybody, you. I want to provide the information that's going to help you take that next step in your life.
I love that. I mean, both of you guys, that is so empowering. And so, I mean, I feel there's so much synergy obviously on the call. And I've read Rich Dad Poor Dad probably like 4 times now. I think I read it when it first came out when I was in college, and I've read it several times since then. But I mean, just the way that you simplify it about, you know, what people get to do in order to be financially free, it makes it so achievable. And, you know, I give credit to both of you for doing that, Dave, by telling your story and the way you're such a hustler, and Sharon, just the way that you're able to break it down and simplify the message. And so when we were sitting down talking about, I was talking with the team about what questions we wanted to ask you. And first of all, I think we could talk to you both all night long. It was like everybody was spewing off all these questions. So I had to had to pick a few to kind of take a deeper dive in. But Sharon, maybe I'll start with you. I think what is one thing that you wish you had known about money when you were younger, where you were just like, maybe it's something you've learned very recently that you're like, oh, I wish I'd learned that 20 years ago? Because as a student of money, you're always probably learning something, even though you understand some of the principles and mindset behind it. But, you know, maybe it's a great epiphany that you have on this side of the knowledge base, or maybe it's something you learn in the middle of your career or beginning, but you're like, gee, I really would, that would have been super helpful to know 20, 30, 40 years ago, whatever it may have been.
Well, I think it's really important, and I appreciate the question, but I really caution people, don't look back, because you can't change the past. You want to look forward. And so I was given the gift of understanding money at a very young age. Most people are not. And so a lot of people spend a lot of time worrying and fretting today about, if I'd only known, if I'd only known. Well, forget about it. Today is the day you can change your life. Every one of us is where we are today because of the choices we made before today. And yes, maybe you didn't make the right financial decisions, but you know what? You're in the driver's seat. You can start making the correct financial decisions today. So don't waste precious time today worrying and lamenting about what you should have done, coulda, woulda, shoulda when you were little. You are right now in this moment, the ability to move forward. And you know, we can make money, lose it, and make it back. David is a perfect example as he shares his story. But we can't get our time back. And so don't spend precious time today worried about something that you should have, could have done, would have done years ago. Be standing in your own power and make the decisions today. They can not just create success in your life, but significance. And one of the most powerful things that David talks about, I'm going to use your line today, David, but you know, talk about being grateful, the gratitude, being blessed. And but when you come from a place of grace, which I try to do, a place of grace and giving, the money will come. And sharing what people can do to take that one step. So people have like glass over their eyes because they still have the wrong mindset, the emotion of money. That mindset of scarcity is what we need to get rid of. So recognize that you might have that from the past. Okay, so recognition is first step. And then start releasing it and realize where it came from. And don't let it hold you in bondage anymore, and become a master of your money. Instead of when it comes to money, you either control your money or it controls you. And far too many people, their money controls them. And I want that to end today.
I love that. As I always say, don't shoulda all over yourself. And because you can't spend your whole life shouldaing, it's not going to be a very fun place to be. So that is probably one of the best answers that I've ever heard, because so many people want to give advice and, you know, in hindsight, and I think it's to bring people up behind them, right? To like lend some advice to the youngsters, or as Dave says, find somebody who's already on the journey and ask for directions so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So, you know, Dave, let me just kind of switch that up a little bit, I guess. For those people who, when you look back on yourself or even your current self, reinventing yourself over the last few years, what would you say to people today who are not shoulding all over themselves, but they're like, okay, cool, like I got it. I hear you, Sharon, like I'm going to take that and refocus and let's get started today. What is that one tip where you're like, okay, go do this? Because you slept on the floor, you got all the things, I mean, you've been there, done that, had a tough restart. And so what's the thing that you would say to people? Okay, that's where I'm at, right? I'm restarting. COVID created all these new opportunities and struggles for people. So there are a lot of people that are restarting. So what's the tip that you would give to those folks?
Look, I think it's about attention and intention. And I've created daily practices that I share with everyone, trying to simplify under the tutelage of people like Sharon Lechter, that when you truly know what you're talking about, it should be simple. And so I've put together the first step of sit down and really ask yourself, what do I want? I'll ask kids all the time, what are your top 3 skills? They don't know. Right? I told everyone during the pandemic, you have control of 3 things: your mindset, your heart set, and your handset. All you need to do is decipher your skills, your knowledge of what you want and who can help you and who you can help, and your desire. And if you align that with what's doing well today, regardless of the pandemic, regardless of the war, regardless of recession or inflation, it won't matter. If you can align the skills, knowledge, and desire you have with what's doing well, what's stable, and what you may feel is going to be doing well according to your situational knowledge and relationship capital, statistically, you will be very successful in all status of change, right? People tell me, oh, the times are uncertain. Look, I've never met a day that wasn't uncertain. If somebody could tell me what is going to happen certainly tomorrow, I know Sharon and I can figure out how to make $1 billion tomorrow. I'll give mine to charity, you can keep yours. But no one's ever been able to tell me with any certainty, except for there'll be change tomorrow too. And it's just that we're appreciating accelerated change. So the first thing is to know what you want according to your personal skill set, knowledge, and desire, your experience, your experiential values, your giving and receiving. So once you know what you want, then you can ask yourself, with what I want, according to maybe mid and long-term objectives that can change, because that just means you're a fast learner if you change your mind, by the way, and know who you can help and who can help you with what you want. And when you get those first 2 daily practices, the how becomes quite easy. How can I be more productive, provide more value with my day? How can I be more accessible to other people to provide that value? And how can I access what I want in a value add world, an abundant world, not a zero sum world? The biggest thing that shifted in my paradigm was I used to think everything was a competition, a negotiation, a trade, including giving. I would give to receive. I know everyone's heard that before. No longer. I receive so I can give. And I appreciate everything I have, acknowledge it by giving it away, and then ask for more. So the idea of accessibility is not only being accessible to provide value, but accessing value from others who are already there. And then, of course, Sharon already hit my favorite, gratitude. Find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. The only thing I would have to add to that in the what, the who, and the how is if you can reconcile time. One of the nuances that people have left out in the pursuit of the light, the love, and the lessons, especially concerning money, is you only have so much time. So you need to prioritize your time and say, is this person, is this investment, is this situation worth the time it's going to take to find the light? There's light and love and lessons in everything, but is it worth your time? So that prioritization will be the antidote to the procrastination and the overwhelmed feelings that you have. So know your what, your who, and your how. You will know your now. You won't have to stumble on the speed bumps behind you. You won't have to be worried about a future that's uncertain, but instead you will have clarity, balance, and focus with attention and intention on what you want, not what other people want for you, or what's missing, or what you don't want to impress other people or buy things you don't need, but simply what you want to help who you want, or to gather help from who you want. And that's been the secret sauce to the 16-year recovery that I've been through, that has provided me the ability to make money, help people, and have fun.
Hope you guys are all taking notes while you're listening to these two, because there's definitely some amazing nuggets there for sure. So speaking of, now that we talked a little bit about the past, let's talk about the future, because I think some people, they don't even know where to get started, right? It's like, we didn't talk about this. And that's part of the struggle with having all these financially illiterate people, not only in the world, but in our country. They don't know where to get started. And so they think about the future and it's like, I'll kick the can down the road. I'll deal with that later. And obviously we've seen this great shift happen in our country when it comes to retirement, where not only do we have a lack of financial literacy, but we also have like a totally different system than a lot of people's parents and grandparents retired on when they had pensions and social security and savings. And that was sort of the three-legged stool that they had. We call it the great shift. And now people have 401ks and their parents are just asking them, do you have retirement? And they're like, well, yeah, I think so, right? I got the 401k, no concept of how much money's in there at all. So, what do you say, Sharon, for people who are, like challenged right now? What are some of the biggest things that you see? Because you obviously talk to people about money all day, just like we do, that you think that are facing this country when it comes to not only retirement in general, but also the reality of looking in the mirror at retirement and what it's going to take?
Well, so many, if we think about it, our life expectancy is so much longer than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And so the idea of retiring at 65, and I have to tell you, this hits home for me because I'm 68. I can't tell you how many people in the last 6 months have said, when are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? And it's like, I'm getting this complex. And I go, I don't really consider what I do work. So, I say, I don't want to ever retire. I just want to keep refiring, right? Refiring the passion, refiring the message. And so I think there's this concept which comes from that idea of scarcity of, work till you're 65 and then you can retire. Well, yeah, that's great if you have the nest egg to be able to retire on. Most people are not because they haven't been setting aside the income. So it's really important to do exactly what just David said, is figure out where you are today. The first step is being real, figuring out where you are. And sometimes the picture's not pretty, but at least you actually feel empowered because you've done it instead of sticking your head in the sand. And then surround yourself with the right people. School teaches us to do everything by ourselves. And money, as I said, is an emotional subject. People don't want to talk about it. Surround yourself with people who are successful that can help support you. The personal success equation in my book, 3 Feet from Gold, is you have your passion and your talent. It's all about you. And that's not how you truly are successful. Is times A, power of association. What we're doing right here, the three of us, meeting and sharing with everyone. We are sharing the power of association that we have. And do you have the right mentor? Do you have somebody who's been where you want to go? Somebody that can open doors for you, somebody that can steer you around pitfalls, right? Sometimes we are afraid to ask. And I go, instead of thinking of it as asking for help, think of it as complimenting someone and sharing that you respect what they've accomplished, and would, could they share some of their wisdom with you? Okay, again, mindset. As David, I love the way David said it, mindset, heart set, and hand set. Now I say we have 3 things we can control: our thoughts, our words, our actions. And most people don't control their thoughts. And if you don't control your thoughts, then you lose control of the other 2. So it's really important to pay attention to what you want, know where you are, know what your goal is, and surround yourself with people that will help you get there. So you have your passion, your talent, the power of association, and taking the right action. And that's where most people fall down because they're hesitant. They don't feel like they're good enough. They're afraid. And so the last element of that personal success equation is F for faith. And too many people, that F is fear. When you have faith in what you're doing, faith that is needed and necessary, faith that you will succeed in your business, the faith that what you have can help people. And even in your business, a lot of people feel like they're selling, right? And so they I don't like to sell. And I go, change your thoughts. You have something that can benefit people's lives. Shame on you if you don't share it with them, serve them. So think of what you're doing as service, not selling. And you elevate your thoughts, you elevate your self-confidence. So when you look at that personal success equation, when I do a lot of one-on-one mentoring, and I use it in every talk that I do, because within those elements, you can find something that's holding you back. And it's usually the power of association and your faith, your confidence. And they go hand in hand, because when you have the right people around you, certainly when you have David in your sphere, we're not going to let you go down. We're going to lift you up. And having the right people around you builds that self-confidence. So if you're struggling right now, take a moment and say, what are my thoughts? What am I allowing? Because your brain cannot hold negative and positive at the same time. You're holding yourself back. You're still here for a reason, no matter what you've been through. Right? I'm coming up on the 10th anniversary of losing a son. I don't wish that on anyone. It sent me into a world of numb for several years. It's horrible. But a lot of people right now listening to us have had issues that stop them in their tracks. It could have been a death like me, or an illness, a financial setback, a divorce. But you know what? You're still here, and you're still here for a reason. What you survived, you can help others going through the same thing. And it's your opportunity to be of service, to share with other people, to be that power of association for them, to elevate them, and to give them the confidence to keep moving.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. I'm like getting emotional listening to you talk about that, because I mean, there were so many nuggets in everything that you just said right now. And I think that Marshall and I always say, we don't sell, we serve. We're dream makers. We want to know what you want to accomplish in life. The products are just a vehicle to get you there, but we're never selling something to you. And I couldn't agree with you more that this information is just something that we get to give away, which is why we are in such a crusade to educate more and more people about their finances. So, and listening to you talk about the challenges, and I'm sorry for the loss of your son, and I do know that I've had my personal struggles. I know people listening here have too, and that is just such a resolve, and it's so empowering for us to hear that from you, to know that, to have the strength to carry forward. So thank you for sharing that all with us. And so Dave, to you, about looking for the future and retirement, and because I know people always look at you, and that's how your financial advice has got to be one of the number one things that people ask you, because everybody knows that you lost it all and you came back. So when they're looking at their future, and they're maybe 40, 50, 60, and they're, or maybe younger, but it's like, I'm not where I want to be. I'm looking forward to retirement. What in the heck, how do I do this? What are the struggles? I don't know where to begin. I don't have a network of people per se that know what they're talking about. And God forbid we make it socially acceptable to actually talk to our friends and family members about what it is that we want to create in the financial sector. That's one of the things we want to break down, is that it's been so taboo to talk about money, like Sharon said. And like getting to have those conversations and empowering each other and being committed to their vision. So what do you say to people when they're looking at towards retirement and really want to see some obstacles or don't know where to begin?
Yeah, I think first defining how time is created, the interval that exists between cause and effect, or cause and outcome, is time. And there's two types of time. One is pragmatic man-made time, 1,440 minutes a day, 24 hours a day, which we all understand. And then there's also the relativity of time that takes an emotional gain or an emotional loss every single day, determinative upon how long relatively is your day. And that can make a big difference in your productivity, your accessibility, and your gratitude, which will directly create either more or less performance for you. And so I first start by saying, where are we going to put our attention? You see, outcomes are aims, they're trajectories and milestones. The last thing you want to do when we're talking about retirement, I talk about repurposing, and I see Sharon Lechter as someone that will repurpose herself to 120, and then we'll talk when she gets there, but I'll help her after that. But more importantly, this repurposing is someone who says to myself, this is what I want 6 years from now when my youngest son goes to college, and this is what I want when I'm 80. This is what I think I want today. Once I have that trajectory of an outcome, a milestone, now all I want to do is put my attention, my focus, and my intention, and there's 5 levels of intention. I'm going to do everything possible today to push myself, accelerate myself towards that trajectory. I'm going to say, as Sharon stated, everything I'm supposed to say in alignment with that trajectory. I'm going to think everything that I think in alignment with that trajectory. I'm going to believe. And how do we know if we truly believe something? By the number of interferences we have between us and that belief, meaning how much fear do we have when we say, think, and do things? how much hesitation, how much limitations are we putting on ourselves? Is there a need to be separate or inferior or anxious or frustrated or angry or guilty, resentful? Are these needs of the egos interfering? And this is how we determine the level of belief in the alignment of our trajectory, which will eventually create what I call inspiration, which is a feeling of true confidence. When we are inspired, then the relativity of time becomes very quickly. So what I see people doing at the beginning is, I want to be rich. I want to make $1 million by the end of this year. And I'll be so happy when I make $1 million by the end of this year. And everything's going to be great in my life when I make this. All the emotions, all the intentions are in the outcome. Instead of saying, I want to make as much money as I can, as fast as I can. What's going to help me do it? Who am I going to surround myself with? What books am I going to read? Podcasts am I going to watch? Who am I going to get to mentor me? What opportunities exist that will create the most wealth? And what am I going to do with that wealth according to my timing and risk tolerance? All of these different things are causes. And simply, when we look at how things aggregate, and this is not just money, right? The rule of 72 applies to behaviors. And here's the thing about good behaviors. They aggregate the same as money. It takes a while. It keeps doubling and doubling. But here's the thing about good behaviors and money. We expect it to come faster than it ever does. And here's the thing about bad behaviors. We never expect bad behaviors to aggregate, but they do. And the thing is, good behaviors, if we put our attention and intention on the causes, happen a lot faster, not just pragmatically in man-made constructive time of 24 hours, but relatively. You'll meet people who have put all their attention and intention on causes, like myself, and like, man, that was easy. And everyone around them, man, you did that overnight. You know, I look backwards sometimes at just the steps that I took on both journeys to get wealthy, the first time and the second. And I hesitate for a minute when I look back and say, wow, if I knew what it was going to take, if I knew what it was going to take to become a millionaire by 24, or if I knew what it was going to take to make my money back, I'm not sure I have what it takes. I'm not sure. But I kept my focus not on the outcome, on the causes. And I got better at what I did. And I asked for help and did all the things that Sharon suggests. But I think there is a attention and intention that needs to be put on the cause. That's why we are on the team that we're on. That's why we provide the education. These are the causes that it takes. And I promise you, not only pragmatically will you be there faster, but relatively, most importantly, you'll be there exponentially faster, and you'll feel good about the journey and who you went on that journey with. There's that big debate as I finish, right? Journey or destiny, journey or destiny. I said, look, don't forget the third one. Who are you with, right? Who are you taking that journey with towards that destiny? And that's been the big difference in my career, is I've learned to take the right people, the right ideas with me, and it got me there a lot faster.
Power of association.
Yeah, that last part. I mean, we took a big team trip to Valle de Guadalupe this weekend, and when we were sitting around the campfire on Saturday night, it was gorgeous. We had such an amazing experience. When we're sitting around the campfire, I was thinking to myself, who else would I want to be here with me moving forward? And it sparked a whole conversation about that, and actually leads me to the next question, Sharon, about mindset, because obviously I know you've written a gazillion books about money mindset, so I'm sure it's clearly a topic that you know a lot about. But when you think about, you know, some folks listening, hopefully we've got some people watching, and some people will watch on the replay, and you know, maybe they're sort of, it just seems so unachievable for them. Like this is their first experience. They saw something, a friend promoted it. They're like, financial literacy month, what's that? Like, I don't know anything about it. You know, this is my first time listening, hearing. They don't know me. They don't know you guys. Like, they're just kind of like, what the heck? And so those people who are just like thinking of this as a mountain and they can barely walk, what are some of the money mindset shifts, and like for beginners, I guess, if you will, just like some little tips that people are gonna take and hopefully get them thinking about something bigger, expanding their vision, whether it's a vision like this to here, or something much, much more massive, but really getting them to think outside of themselves and start to make some small shifts that could make a big impact, or in the aggregate, like the rule of 72 for your money mindset.
Well, I think I'll start with a very fast exercise. So everybody listening and watching right now, have you ever said, I can't afford it? I know we all have, right? And worse, do we say it to our kids? And think about the impact on your body of that thought, that mindset. I can't afford it. It's negative. You just want to kind of turn off the lights and get under the covers, right? And so if you can take a moment and change your thought and say, how can I afford it, right? Think of the difference. You feel the difference. How can I afford it? It opens up your mind. It triggers your entrepreneurial spirit, and you want to find a way to get what you want. One from negative closing down, one to open up to the possibilities. It's that simple. And that is what happens to us. We have this negativity, this sadness, this I'm never going to have enough attitude about money. And you have to physically, mentally, and spiritually acknowledge that that's happening and make the choice to reframe your mind to say, how can I achieve what I want? How can I get to where I need to be? And then surround yourself with the right people, the right education, the right opportunity. And that it makes a huge difference. But if you have kids, don't say we can't afford it. Say, Johnny, Mary, you want something? How can you afford it? And you will see incredible creativity from these children, because they want something. They're going to come up with all kinds of ways to make the money, and encourage that. Allow them to do what they need to earn the money, and then be able to buy what they want and celebrate with them. Because you know, the greatest benefit of that is the self-confidence that you see. Okay, financial education is the gift of a lifetime. And so share your knowledge with others. You're in the right industry to share that knowledge, to show them how to shift from I can't afford it to how can I afford it. And once they can get past that first step, it gets easier and easier and easier. But if you end up surrounding yourself with a bunch of other I can't afford it, so you're constantly mired in this group of negativity, it's tough to get out. It's like, you know, it feels like you're like stuck in this environment. Step out, put that cone of protection on, and keep moving forward and taking that first step to change your mindset that you can do it. There's only one of you. God created you uniquely to be you. You are the best version of yourself. And you are an expert. So many, you know, we've this in Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill talks about the fear of comparison, right? The fear of not being the same as someone else. And that's a huge issue in today's world. Okay, I don't want you to be a better version of me. I want you to be the best version of you. And that you have already been given that opportunity. You're holding yourself back. And so by knowing what you want, mastering yourself, okay, learning from adversity, because things happen to us for a reason, and we need to learn from those so they don't repeat. And then take that next step and control the environment that you're in, and control how you spend your time. Invest your time, don't spend it. You know, when COVID hit, I was so besieged with the negativity. It was like everywhere. I turned off my news, turned off the radio. So we have got to add positivity. And I launched a program that I do now, which is called atm.sharonlechter.com. It's abundance, tips, and mentorship. Every single day, I share a message, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, of positivity. Let's get your mind positive in the first part of the day, and it will be the ripple effect for your whole day. But if you kind of drag yourself out of bed and say, oh, I don't have enough money, you know, it's hard to get out of that negativity. It's like your own cesspool. So start with, how can I afford it? How can I achieve my goals? Because you've got everything you need right now. You just need to get the mindset tuned in and start taking action. And we're here to support you to do that.
I love that. The I can't afford it. Making me laugh. But atm.sharonlechter.com, right, is where everybody goes to sign up, and they can get a message of positivity. That's amazing. Dave, to add a little spin on that, what, not only about the mindset piece, but what about the people who are like, all right, I got it. I'm what Sharon said, I'm around a whole bunch of I can't afford it. So like when you're in a room, what do they say? No, I won't use that analogy. It's not a very nice word, but like when you're around all these people, it's toxic, it's contagious, that you're starting to feel that. And so, what about those people, especially I hear this from a lot of young folks, actually, like in their early 20s, who are like, all my friends are naysayers. They don't want to watch me succeed, or they're that I can't afford it, or I come from it with my family. So I know I got to get around better people. How do I do that? And they look at sometimes at older people and they're like, I'm too young, I can't do it. All these different, and whether it's the I can't afford it, or I just don't know hows, or the I can't do it, but they're all in that space. So how do you tell them to not only shift their mindset about money, but shifting the actual physical space? Like where do they go? What do those folks do?
Yeah, I think it is a technique or a practice of the great chain of feeding. It's incredible that the majority of the people spend over 80% of the time with things that bleed them: people, occupations, activities, ideas, TV shows, podcasts that actually bleed them. And I think the first step is to identify what feeds you and feed it. And so if your friends, your family, your podcast, your TV shows, your whatever you're sucking in is bleeding you, then let's acknowledge that we have to find something that feeds. The things that bleed us, you have a choice. You can let them fall away. And the nice thing about social media and distractions of today is it's so much easier than when Sharon and I were younger and you were in a small town and things were bleeding you. It was very hard to get that person to fall away, literally, because you were at the same party every single weekend, or the baseball game every single weekend. And yet now there's so many distractions. It's so easy to let someone that bleeds you fall away from you. But if you can't, then it's okay to fire them. And one of the things that my wife did to save my life when I was surrounding myself with the wrong people, the wrong idea, 2 years before I lost everything. And she told me that if I continued not taking stock in who I was and what wanted to become, that I would end up dead. And she didn't want to stay around to see that. But she told me if I was going to change, if I was going to, and this is 2 years before I lost everything, take stock in who I was, I needed to fire a few people from my life, not let them fall away, literally. And so I had to go to some of my childhood friends, elementary school friends, that I felt indebted to or connected to and would follow to the end of the earth. And unfortunately, I was following them, to the center of the earth, not to the end of the earth. And I told them, I don't like who I am, right? I don't like who I am when I'm around you, and I'm not going to be able to be around you anymore. It's not about you, it's about me. And this process of being conscious about what bleeds you will change your life. You'll be amazed how much drains you and how many things, I have an unwinding routine at night. It's a major factor in my success. I believe my tomorrow starts tonight at 9 p.m. I will receive no negative energy. It's amazing when you're married. I know Sharon probably has had this experience as well. Whatever reason, every spouse in the world wants to bring up the most stressful, anxiety-based conversation at about 9 o'clock. And I just won't allow it anymore. I don't want negativity. I won't watch scary movies. I won't watch The Housewives. I won't watch, any of the things that drain me. I won't do it. I don't look at my emails. I get an unwinding routine because sleep is 1/3 of your life. And it's the majority of the people go to bed at night and wake up more tired than when they went to bed. In a financial sense, they literally live their lives like a tube. Food in, food out, paycheck in, paycheck out. I like to plateau and grow. I go to sleep. I start my day by going to sleep to recover physically, so I have more strength tomorrow, but also to access information, to clear my conscious so that I can access the higher power. Talk about faith, the ability to believe there's something bigger than you, an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that loves me more than my mom. I'm going to give you one last analogy that changed my life. Because I wasn't always faith-based. I didn't believe there was more than enough. I thought I was a victim. Everything was happening to me. I didn't think it was happening through me. And then I realized I had this extraordinary mom, worked 2 jobs, packed my dinner in a paper bag, just so we could have enough money for food stamps to eat. But I watched her. I still don't listen to my mom, but I still watch her, and I've learned more from her. But when I was 3 years old, I went out to put my hand on a hot stove. And my mom, who always is a consummate second grade teacher, she speaks to everyone like a second grade teacher. My wife always says my biggest problem is my mom never hit me. But when I was 3, she hit me because I was reaching out for the stove, and she slapped my hand so hard and screamed at me. Screamed, no. I started to cry. Mom, why are you punishing me? She hugged me immediately and said, I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting you. I'm promoting you. I'm making your life better. And when I created faith into my financial life, that when I had pain in my life, when I had financial mistakes, setbacks, and failures, that instead of being punished, instead of living in a world of not enough, where you're a victim and you scream, why me? Why can't I have that? Oh, right. Instead, it was, oh, I wasn't supposed to do that investment. I wasn't supposed to take that job. I wasn't supposed to be in that relationship, because there's an omniscient, all powerful, all knowing source that loves me more than my mom loves me. So when I'm experiencing these pains, these are to teach me as an indicator that I have a better place to be. And so be very conscious about the pain, the bleeding. Surround yourself with things that feed you and feed it, and your life will change immediately. It's amazing what happens when everybody's feeding each other in a world of abundance, of more than enough, of everything for everyone.
Wow. You know what I love watching you two speak is that you both take notes on what the other one is saying.
Oh,
And
for
that
years, for
that is so
years.
beautiful because, you know, it's like we started talking about at the beginning of this conversation, because that how you're always learning and always a student. So I'm going to let you guys give a little call to action. We do want to open it up for a couple of questions. So if you guys want to post your questions in the chat, I'll go ahead and take them in a moment. But I know that there are some people who are watching either right now or on the replay who want to know how to find you, what you're up to, you know, how to be able to connect with you. So, you know, if you guys have a little call to action for everyone, Sharon, I'll start with you.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much. I would love to hear from you and have you come into my community. The personal success equation I just shared, you can go to personalsuccessequation.com, and I have a free download to help you really look at your own journey and what you can do to help improve yourself. And come to my website, info@Sharon Lechter. You can reach out to me individually. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. So I'd love to hear from you. And I challenge you, because sometimes, I see the same people all the time, and they say, I'm going to reach out, and they never do. And so we're accessible. Reach out to us, info@Sharon Lechter, SharonLechter.com, and check out personalsuccessequation.com, because we'd love to serve you and support you.
Wonderful. And Dave, what about you? I don't want to
have
steal
two
your
asks.
thunders.
Yeah, no, I have two asks, two calls of action. One, seek Sharon Lechter. So my ask is to seek everything that she does, learn from her. We are blessed to have her. There's a reason that Junior Achievement Worldwide got nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. It's because of chancellors of mine like Sharon Lechter and Bob Proctor and Jack Canfield and Brian Tracy, John Asseroff and Mary Morrissey, and the list will go on and on. But you're been given a huge gift. So my first call to action is, please, if you have only a limited amount of time, reach out to Sharon. And if there's any extra time, email me directly, david@dmeltzer.com. All of my books are free. My guides, my exercises. I do free trainings on Friday for over 22 years. A wide variety of topics, by the way, from mommy issues, the ultimate ego training, to the 5 to Thrive selling system. It wouldn't matter, but please, you just email me directly. I answer everything myself, quite cryptically, but it is me answering 2 or 3 words right back to you. Hopefully sage words of advice. David@dmeltzer.com.
Thank you. Thank you both for getting on today. And, you know, since you brought up Junior Achievement again, Marshall and I actually were just talking about Junior Achievement yesterday, and their BizTown here in San Diego, which has been so incredible. And looking at some more ways that we can get involved so we can have that conversation offline. But as a quick reminder for everybody who's watching, we do have these How Many Works books. If whoever invited you, connect with them, please. If not, you can always reach out to us on any of our social media pages, and we're happy to send you the book for free. So we want to make sure that you are getting educated about how many works and how to make it work for you. And this is an amazing book that just talks about some of the basics. It is a super easy read, and I absolutely cannot wait, Sharon, until you get the How Many Works for Women book out. I know that we're gonna hopefully be able to have some access to you to help us promote that book as well, because as I don't need to tell you that we're just about to go through, or we're in the middle of the largest wealth transfer in the history of our nation, and women will come out on the other side as the predominant holders of wealth for the first time in this nation's history. So it couldn't be at a better time. So hopefully for all of you watching, either in person on the replay, super thank you to Dave Meltzer and Sharon Lechter for joining us this evening, taking time out of their busy schedules to share and impart their knowledge, and hopefully encourage you and inspire you in some way, shape, or form to learn more about your finances and carry on the legacy, break those generational poverty cycles and conversations, and really create the life of your dreams, because that's what we're here to do together as a collective. So thank you all again for your time. I hope you have a beautiful evening, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you. God bless.
Good
Bye,
night.
Sharon. I love you.
Love you too, David.
Happy birthday, Ty.
Thanks.
Yes, happy birthday.
Thank you.